to your weekly community service show, Your Business Matters with Pallavi Ahluwalia of Ahluwalia Law Offices. Tune into their show between 10:30 a.m. and 11 a.m. every Wednesday on 104.9 FM and ask her all your legal questions. Ms. Ahluwalia owns and operates Ahluwalia Law Offices PC. She received her law degree in 1996 from Southern Methodist University in Dallas, Texas, and also has a graduate degree in English Literature and Master of Philosophy in English Literature from the University of Punjab, Chandigarh in India. Ms. Ahluwalia is also a certified mediator and has served as an appointed mediator for Collin County Courts. In addition to regularly volunteering at legal aid clinics hosted by the Legal Aid of Northwest Texas, Ms. Ahluwalia serves as a legal advisor to Chetna, a non-profit organization working on issues related to domestic violence. She also spearheaded and participated in the inaugural annual legal aid clinic that was held to benefit the underprivileged South Asian community. Ms. Ahluwalia also served on the North American South Asian Bar Association's Executive Committee and is the founding president of the South Asian Bar Association of Dallas. Her speaking engagements have included being the speaker at the National South Asian Bar Association's annual conference, speaking at the conference held by the Texas chapter of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, and a presenter to the Indo-American Chamber of Commerce activities. She has been featured in Texas Lawyer magazine for an article on law firm ethics. Ms. Ahluwalia speaks English, Hindi, Urdu and Spanish. Her office handles cases involving immigration and naturalization law, family law, business law, contract law and civil litigation. She can be contacted directly at 972-361-0606 or pallavi@yourdesilawyer.com.
972-361-0606 is the number to reach them. Do take an appointment if you want to see Pallavi, and ahluwalialaw.com holds all the information that you require about the law office. Once again, it's ahluwalialaw.com, and for your convenience, the website that you can type in is also yourdesilawyer.com. It will redirect you to ahluwalialaw.com. Filhal, if you have a question, do call us 972-235-5555. That's the number in the studio. Yes, get in touch with us right now. Pallavi will answer all your legal questions right now on the airwaves of Phanisha Radio 104.9 FM. Once again, the number in the studio 972-235-5555. Good morning, Pallavi. How are you doing?
A great morning to you, Meetu. Doing very well. Thank you for hosting me as always on Wednesday mornings at 10:35. Appreciate it very much, and for doing it so well. We're here every Wednesday, guys, and I know we have a lot of questions that come to us from on different aspects. We mostly get immigration questions, and I'm happy to answer those. But if you have any other questions too, please do ask. Let's go and start taking calls. But before I do that, Meetu, I do want to get a few things to the attention of the listeners. And one of those is that for people that are traveling for stamping, whichever country they're going to, just be prepared that if you are going, the consulates are being a little tougher, than ours are possible. We're seeing that even in good cases, just administrative review across the board. And also there are some extraordinary questions that are being asked, and these go beyond the merits of your particular application. So, say for example, you're in H1B, and you can expect queries about the bona fides of your job, whether you were employed or not, what kind of work you're going to go back and resume or assume. But the questions that we're seeing right now are, and I'm going to quote a few of them, it's an extensive list of questions on a supplemental form that are going as far as asking you to fill out your travel information for the past 15 years. Any country that you visited in the past 15 years, they need to know where you went, where you stayed, all of that. Another question that we're seeing is, let's get the names of your siblings and their date of birth and where they are at this particular point. We're also getting questions that we're seeing on the same form that are talking about your last 15 years of residences, wherever you've stayed. Now, 15 years is a darn long time. If you're gone abroad and you don't have that information with you while you've gone to stamping, you maybe get stuck because your records may be here. So I would ask the community, especially if you're going out for your stamping at this point, whether it's H1 or any other stamping, just be aware of these questions that could be asked. One more thing which is extremely concerning to me that I note on one question that was asked, and this says, and I'm going to quote it, please provide your unique username for any websites or applications you have used to create or share content, photos, videos, status updates, etc. as part of a public profile within the last 5 years. So which means, I mean, anything that you've touched from Twitter to Facebook. So it's almost like the government wants to see what you're doing or what your political opinions are or what your other opinions are before they'll stamp you, and that becomes a grave concern for anyone that's looking at our liberties in that sense. So I would say that please do consult with your attorney before you step out. Just don't go out without understanding what these questions could be. And again, this is not for every application, but it's random. But if you're one of the randomly selected, then be aware that this may happen. The second quick update, and I know this one lasted a bit longer, the second quick update that I have is, please do keep the government updated on your address by filing AR11s. This is even if you don't have any pending case with them and you have, say, for example, an H1B that's been approved, but you've moved your place to an AR11, just have it there. It is on the list of one of the deportable offenses for not to, as failure to inform the government of your movement or your addresses, and you don't want to be stuck in something that is not such a major thing, but is legally something that can get you in trouble. So let's keep that in mind. And with that, Neetu, just let's start taking our callers if you have any calls at this point.
Yes, let's start taking the calls. I would like to tell you all that the website is ahluwalialaw.com, and about travel advisory and visa stamping concerns that Pallavi was talking earlier, well, you can get all the details on that website also. So yes, let's start taking calls. 972-235-5555, the number in the studio. Going to our callers now. Good morning. You are live on the air. Go ahead and ask your question to Pallavi.
Hello, thank you for taking my call. My brother recently got laid off, and he is almost at the end of a 60 days grace period. Quick context, his I-140 is approved, and he was on H1B. What are his options if he's in a situation where he can't immediately get out of US? Is there any legal remedy to address that and make sure that he remains in status or gets some sort of approval?
No, it has to be where there is a valid reason to change status. So there is no, so you have the 60-day grace period to find another employer, failing which then you have to step out of the country. Okay, or say, for example, he finds an employer in the third, fourth month after he's left the country, then he can come in through consular processing. So, at this point, if anyone gets, so failure to maintain status is concerning, and if that is something that he gets picked up on, then it's a lengthier process to address the defense on deportation. So I would say that's not something that should be easily an option. If somebody is stuck for a little while, you have 180 days of being out of status that will be eventually excused for your re-entry, but that's not something we can advise that you should stay here for 180 days, because past the 60 days you're definitely deportable.
Okay, he might go past by a week or so. That's our concern. And okay,
so in the week I would advise him to be careful, and then step out and then re-enter the country with another H1B with another employer. Of course, that would be marked consular processing, and if he goes back home to India, then he will have to go stamping and re-enter.
Okay, can I ask a real quick sub question? If he finds an employment, and because the paperwork would start much later, at least late enough that he would go out of a 60 days period, what's the best way to handle it? Do they need to file a petition here, or do they need to give him some paperwork to go into consular processing? How does it work?
Well, the petition will, any H1B approval has to be gotten here in the US. Okay? Upon its approval, will the consulate get involved? So the employer will have to file here. It may not be for an extension of stay for him, but as consular processing. Once he obtains a 797, he will go to the consulate and get it stamped and re-enter.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for your call. 972-235-5555 number in the studio. We are going to our next caller. Anisha Radio, you're live on the air. Go ahead and ask your question to Pallavi.
Hi, thanks for taking my call. I have two questions. I'm on L1 and my wife is on L2. Her L2 visa is valid until 2019 and so is her I-94. But our EAD is actually expiring on August 4th. We actually applied for an EAD extension on May 18th. So today is like the 69th day. But still the system says the case is received. So how do we go about with that, ma'am?
Yeah, well, she has to get that approved, and with the change in law on January 17th of this year, in 2017, the government has said that they will be taking 180 days to process EADs. Okay, so that's a given right now. But if you have a receipt of your EAD, the government is allowing work based on a timely filed case. So timely filed meaning before its expiration, which you're saying that you filed in May and it expires in August, right? So you timely filed it. And at this point, that could be used as, the receipt could be used for work purposes.
Okay. Then when I saw there were some categories where we were entitled for an automatic 180-day extension, but none of them were fitting.
They're not related to your status. Okay.
No.
And in that case, and that's something that is not cross-checked, but in that case, then no. I mean, if you're not on the categories that allow you to work with the receipt, then obviously, then she will have to await it. There is no expediting it for 180 days.
Okay, and then so my options are before August 4th, if the status changes to approved, then she can continue. Otherwise, she has to be on like unpaid leave or something like that.
For an I-9 purpose, I think just even approved will not help. You will have to have it in your hand.
Okay.
Okay, so basically that's how it would work, because the I-9 form has to go through the list and see if you're either someone who's allowed to work based on the receipt, or where if approved, then a copy of the card.
Okay. And the second point is she actually got picked in the H1B lottery this time, ma'am, and even that is showing as case received. Is there any connection between those two, or?
No, I wouldn't worry about that at all. So that's the government just processing the case and taking time, and they're taking 4 to 5 months to get them approved. We have a bunch of cases that were already adjudicated and approved, so it's just that they're taking time to get to them, as long as she made it into the lottery. But no, it's not. That's just the status for saying that they have it, but they haven't worked on it.
Okay, so by August 4th, if she has not got the card on hand, she has to be on unpaid leave.
Correct.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you for your question. Once again, for the listeners who are tuning in just now, do want to say this is Your Business Matters with Pallavi Ahluwalia from Ahluwalia Law Offices. If you have any questions related to employment and family-based immigration matters, family law, corporate law, or civil matters, give us a call right now, 972-235-5555. All right, going to our next caller, Phanisha Radio. You're live on the air. Go ahead and ask your question, please.
Hi, I'm on H1 and I got a couple of RFCs. So my question is, I applied for my I-485 yesterday. So in case if H1 is intent to deny, first question is, can I work here, or and what happens to my status? Will I be able to stay even if it is intent to deny because I have applied for I-485? And second question is, when will I get this EAD if I've applied yesterday? EAD, advanced payroll, and GC.
Okay, so the H1B should not be denied for fraud purposes, because that will remove you from being in status. So the notice of intent to deny, first of all, must be contested, and again, the good faith aspect of it has to be established. Okay, it may not be meeting some legal prong, but as long as there's good faith, you have to be able to contest it, as your employer must. Now, when it comes to the 485, yes, from the filing of the 485, you are allowed to be here till it is adjudicated. You can't work till you have the EAD approved, which takes about 180 days per the new rules.
Thank you.
Thank you so
All right.
much
All
for
the
your
best.
call. Once again, 972-235-5555 number in the studio. aluvalialaw.com is their website. You can get in touch with them by calling 972-361-0606 and you can get your appointment with the front desk manager to see Pallavi or her team. Going on to our next caller, Phanisha Radio. You are live on the air. Go ahead and ask your question to Pallavi.
Hi, Pallavi. Do you have any idea how long it takes time to my citizenship? I have done my fingerprint about a month ago. So after that, how?
Taking about 8 to 9 months, sir. 8 to 9 months from the time that it was filed.
Oh, okay. And you don't how long take time after fingerprint? My fingerprint is done.
Yeah, so what they are looking at this point, once you have your fingerprints done, is they're looking to go through your background. So once the FBI provides notice of your background check and that being cleared, you'll be set up for an interview. So at this point, you're in that period where however long that FBI takes, it takes 5 months sometimes, it may take about 6-7 months sometimes. So you have to just kind of wait. At this point, it's just that your background check has to clear.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your call. Going on to our next caller, Phanisha Radio. You are live on the air. Go ahead and ask your question to Pallavi.
Hi. We just recently got our citizenship and we have a kid who's less than 18 years of age. He's on a green card. We were wondering, is it mandatory or do we need to have his certificate of citizenship as well, or will a passport suffice?
A passport should suffice at this point. It's only if the passport is lost or anything like that, that's when there are issues. But the birth certificate is all you need. He was born here, you said, right?
The kid was not born here, though.
Okay, he was not born here. He acquired citizenship. Sorry, I misheard that.
Right.
He acquired citizenship through you, and he's a minor at this point, under the age of 18. Correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So having a passport is great, but doing the certificate of citizenship would stand in good stead. Just have it in your background.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you for your call. Going to our next caller, Phanisha Radio. You are live on the air. Please go ahead and ask your question.
Hi, ma'am. Thanks for taking my call. My wife working on H4 EAD and full-time company, but last year our H1B is approved without I-94, but she didn't start working with the H1B company. So my quick question is, here she can work later that H1B, or how is it, because that H1B approved for 1 year only? So she can still continue on H4 EAD later in future, or after 1 year or 2 years later, she can reopen that H1B with a different employer or maybe full-time company?
Yeah, so here is my question to you. You said she never started to work. Was her H1B approved for a change of status?
Yes, it is change of status, but change of status is not approved. Change of status is not approved.
Okay, so I am a little confused about the question. So here is what I can say. She has to maintain status. If she was approved for an H1B with a change of status, then she had to be on an H1B. Now, if the H1B has been approved once and she gives that up and starts to use the H4 EAD by filing again for a change of status from the H1B or going abroad, coming back in with the H4, applying for an EAD, getting that approved, then yes, she has the ability to use that H1B at another time with another employer, however she wants to do it. Once she is part of a quota, she is part of that quota. Unless it gets denied prior to the beginning of the quota, which would be the October 1st date of that particular year when she made it into the lottery.
Sorry, ma'am. Actually, she was in US and she was working from H4 and she applied from H4 to H1B. But H1B is approved last year, approved, but without I-94, that is change of status. They asked us to go for a consulate approval, but she didn't go. Still continuing on in US full-time company. So question is, later she can go for with a different employer for an approval, or she can apply for that, or otherwise she have to work now.
So that's the best news about this, because if it was applied for consular processing, she did not automatically change her status on October 1st, and when she did not resume or assume work with the first employer, she is fine to maintain her H4 EAD. That is still her H1B to use if the employer did not withdraw it prior to October 1st of the year where she got selected. So she's fine.
Oh, she is fine. Like for 1 year only it is approved. She can apply for next year end also. Is it right with different employer?
Yes, it's her H1B to use for the next 6 years at any point that she wants to take it on.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you for your call. Maybe this is our last call. It depends on the length of your question. So please keep your question brief so that we can take probably another caller before we wind up the show today. Well, you're live on the air. Go ahead and ask your question very quickly.
Yeah, ma'am. My wife wants to go through a divorce now. We are married for 25 years. And does it matter who files first with the lawyer?
No, the one that files with the lawyer establishes first files is the one that establishes jurisdiction or the filing of the petition, but there is not any benefit in the adjudication of the case.
Okay, and we are married for 25 years, as I said, and I'm willing to go through a amicable divorce. Do you suggest I go to a lawyer or do it by ourselves?
So if both of you are comfortable with understanding what needs to be done and how funds have to be split as community property between the two of you, and if you have any minor children under the age of 18, how child support has to be set up, if you're comfortable with that, you could do it yourself. Obviously, it requires both of you to be on the same page with that. And once that...
What about the property in India, madam? What about the property in India? How does that work?
The court here will sign off on any agreements that you have relating to any properties wherever they are. The court can't force you to do it a certain way if the property is not within the court's jurisdiction. However, the court will agree and sign off if you both decide to split property a certain way.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you very much for taking my call.
Of course, all the best to you.
All right, all the very best to you. We have exactly 1.5 minutes left, Pallavi, on the clock. So I'm taking this caller on air, and I do want to ask your please ask your question very, very quickly.
Yeah, so my question is that my mother-in-law was visiting us here from India, and while she was about to return, she had an accident, and so due to medical grounds, we had to apply for visa extension. Now she wants to go back in a few days, but we haven't got any approval or denial for her visa extension. So my question is, what happens if she travels back and we still haven't got any response on the visa extension application? And second, what happens when she visits us in the U.S. next time, probably a year or so later? So, I think we need to carry additional documents. Yeah, so the extension will deem to be abandoned. I'm trying to quickly wrap it up, so I'm hurrying you up, sorry. And it will be deemed to be abandoned. When she comes back next time, she has to just have a receipt with her as well as the reason that she applied for that extension, and have it with her paperwork when she enters the country. So that if the officer asks her, she had validly filed for an extension, she will be okay. So mostly if there was a valid extension file, but she ended up leaving, that's fine. Yeah, that should be fine. And it wouldn't be a problem when she leaves now, right now. So that wouldn't be no problem right now. Okay.
Thank you so much for keeping it brief, and we made it in time, Pallavi. Thank you so much.